Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. This is episode 118. Can you believe it? I come talk to you every single week, and although 118 episodes seems wild to me sometimes, it's definitely an accomplishment. As a podcaster, I'm thinking, wow, I have been here for 118 weeks at least straight. So this week is just me talking to you. I've had an amazing guests lately and friends come on for weeks now, but I want to get a chance to connect with you and update you with everything that's been going on in my life and with this podcast. So before I get started, I want to thank you all for always showing up when I take the stage. I want to thank every single guest that has agreed to speak with me on the show, my friends that are supportive and don't kill me every time I tell their business. I can't hold water. My partner in crime, Wax, for understanding why the show means so much to me and allowing me to just be free and creative. And last but not least, May. So you guys have heard me brag about May and probably even heard her at times during the last few weeks. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be putting out episodes. She was sent to us by sweet baby Jesus to be able to keep this podcast going and keep me on task, because I have definitely been overwhelmed with so much going on. I want to share this week a few things that I've learned along the way of this journey and where it has led me to today, this podcast journey, really. For those of you that are on the newer side of listening, I started working on this podcast, I'm 30, in 2017, and I launched it with my best friend Dex in 2018. I thought it would just be something I would put out and a few people would listen to, hopefully relate to. But listen, God had bigger plans for me, okay? I had no idea what was going to come out of this. But the first thing I learned was to just start and fuck fear. That's literally what I have learned, and it's one of my biggest lessons. The world right now is in turmoil. Our lives have literally been turned upside down. But if I didn't say fuck you to fear at that time and just start the podcast, I wouldn't be here today. And I'd still be miserable as fuck and accounting behind a desk trying to figure out how to take 2-hour lunches without anyone finding out and trying to get out of trouble when I missed my deadlines at work. I swear that's the type of employee I was. I was never there. I would have margaritas during lunchtime, come in late, leave early. I was just a fucking mess towards the end. Because I didn't let fear hold me back from starting something as small as this shitty little podcast, as I used to call it. I've been able to meet and become friends with people I could have only dreamed of. I've been in rooms that the thought of ever walking through those doors seemed like a fantasy. And this podcast led me to starting not just one, but 2 businesses at this point in time. If you have an idea, and it doesn't matter how small it is, how silly it may seem to others, just do it. That's actually kind of funny. It's like Nike was onto something there, right? Like, just fucking do it. I think back to who I would be today or how I would feel if I didn't start, and I'm glad that I just tried it. Failure is so much better than regretting the fact that you never tried. Don't look back in a few years from now and regret not giving your ideas and a dream a shot, no matter what they are. Like, literally, think about me 3 years ago, thinking about starting a podcast, how silly it sounded. Me wanting to start a blog, how dumb it sounded to some people. But look where I am now and where it has led me to. Now, don't worry about being perfect. Trust me, I wouldn't be here if I didn't start. And it wasn't all pretty and far from perfect for me. Another thing I also learned is that I'm so much more than a woman or just a mom. I can be creative, I'm a hustler, I'm fearless, and I deserve everything that has come my way. Deserves a big word. And you're probably thinking, all right, girl, so you got all that out of just starting a podcast? Yes, literally out of just starting a podcast. Look, listen, no one really believed in me when I had this idea. It seemed crazy and just plain stupid. Like, who are you? Why would anyone want to hear you talk? This probably seems familiar to you with ideas and dreams that you have yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be a podcast. But this podcast to me symbolizes taking control of my life and doing something just for me. And I believed in myself, and I didn't listen to anyone else, like those naysayers. I deserve everything that I have. I deserve this podcast. And I also know there are tons of people out there with so much more experience than me. I'm very aware of it. There are podcasters making millions of dollars. There are others with millions of downloads. But guess what? Not one of them are me. My superpower is that I'm unique, and that's also your superpower. So I want you to remember that. I don't have to be like anyone else. I don't have to mimic anyone else. I can talk about the same topic as someone else, but no one else has my life experience. They're not me, and no one else is you. Something else I learned throughout this journey, it's haters, critics, and miserable people exist, but supporters and friends scream from the rooftops and drown out any hater that has ever had anything to say about me. I have the most amazing emails in my inbox, DMs that regularly come in, and they remind me why I love to do this. My Patreon community, y'all, wow. Like, what would I do without my Patreon support? They literally uplift me. If you're not part of the Patreon, that means that you don't come to our monthly virtual pajama parties, by the way, so you can actually understand what it is that we do. Like, we're literally like a family. I've learned so much from my community, and the fact that you all support me, because I know you're listening, the way that you do keeps me going on every day, like when I want to give up. There's those days that I just feel really low and I'm like, maybe I'll just go back to corporate, or just some days aren't my day. And I see those messages, I see how you guys support me, and I'm like, no, I'm going to come back and I'm going to keep showing up. And actually, did you hear what my patrons did recently? I think I should say it again. My patrons sold out the women's wellness retreat in like 48 hours, y'all. Like, for real, they literally sold it out. Shout out to y'all and how you support me, because who else would do that from starting a community and creating a community through a podcast? This is just crazy. It all happened from me saying, fuck fear, not listening to the critics, not listening to the haters, and starting this shitty little podcast. That's it. I just took a chance on something that I believed in and I was passionate about. The power of podcasting is so real. Like, what you can do to elevate your brand, your business, and even create awareness of things that you're passionate about, it's real through podcasting. I didn't have anyone to help me, even guide me through this journey, but of how to podcast, which is why I decided to insert myself into a lane of teaching others how to podcast as well. So by this point, I've launched over 100 podcasts to date. And although I launch anyone's podcast who wants to podcast, I love that I have a community full of people of color. They look like me. They sound like me. They think like me. And that I can give the opportunity to y'all that wasn't there for me. There's so many other passions that we all have, visions for our lives. But if you're thinking of starting a podcast specifically, I do have an academy called Idea to Launch Academy. And June 18th at 8 p.m., you can meet me for a free training on how you can launch your own podcast in 30 days. Podcasting is not just the trend. And the door for us specifically in this lane are opening, and they're opening fast. So please get started now. If this is something that you've been thinking about, please don't just come and try to start a podcast just because you're like, oh my God, I want to do it too. It sounds fun. No, think about it. If this is something you really have thought about doing, or maybe you're interested in it, just come and let's figure out this is something that's there for you. So I'll leave that in the description of this episode, and I'll see you there on the 18th. It's a Zoom call. I get to see you. You get to see me. We'll drink wine. It'll be fun. So those are some of the things that I learned throughout, this journey of podcasting, where it has led me to. You guys have literally uplifted me. You've seen me grow as a woman through this all. So it's crazy. It's really, really crazy where I have gotten to with this. But now we're going to go on to unsolicited advice. I think let's do that. If you would like to write to me and, get some advice from me, you can do so by emailing shitim30podcast@gmail.com. Put on the subject line, solicited advice, unsolicited advice, I need advice, help me, something along those lines, so I know to open up that specific email, and I will be able to read it on the show. We can absolutely 100% keep it anonymous if you want to, and I can message you before I read it. Like, I love to give people advice, just because sometimes I might be on stage 10 of life, or level 10, when you can be maybe on level 2, and I can help you from my life experiences. You never know. So we're going to start off with Alicia. It's not her real name, but she's young. Let's talk about this. It says, I'm 23 in October. My older sister is 2.5 years older than me. She's incredibly smart, kind, and hardworking. Recently, she graduated an Ivy League school and has found a 6-figure job as a starter, and is planning to go up, way up from there. I'm super proud of her, but I am left feeling incredibly mediocre. I'm still going to a 4-year state school. I'm on year 6 actually right now, with a degree that won't make me nearly as much in a field that is less than desirable. I am dependent on my mom sometimes when there's unexpected costs in my life. I feel like a burden and a loser, especially since my sister is going to help pay off my student loans. I feel like sometimes it would be better if I didn't exist. Then people won't have to see what a failure I've become. How can I get rid of this feeling? Please help. Alicia, I think this is a feeling that although you're 22, we can all relate at some point, even in our 30s. It's comparison. You're comparing yourself to somebody that is not you. You guys are two completely different people, and not everybody wants to go to an Ivy League school. Not everyone graduates from college and starts getting, a bunch of money, a 6-figure job. That's not the norm. And shout out to your sister. That is awesome. But you can have different life experiences. So the fact that your sister went to an Ivy League school and is doing all of this, there are things that she doesn't know. There's a struggle in your life that she won't be able to understand that's going to make you a different type of woman. So don't compare yourself to who your sister is. And you're not a burden to anyone. Just find your passion. You're saying it's a less than desirable field. Is it less than desirable because you don't love it? Or are you just listening to what other people say and, again, comparing yourself to your sister? I'm thinking, I have no idea what your professions are, but let's say stereotypically you're probably like, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. And your sister's like, I'm a bioengineer and I create biohazard, whatever the fuck, I don't even know what to say. You guys are important in your own ways. And honestly, I think that teachers and elementary school teachers have like such an important role in this world. And again, I don't know if you're going to be a teacher or not, but if you're thinking it's less than desirable, is it because you feel like it's not a desirable job or career, or because someone else said that? If it's because someone else said it and you're comparing yourself to what someone else is doing or saying, fuck them. Stop worrying about everybody else. If you right now need help from your parents and from your sister, so be it. You need that help, but your timeline might just take a little bit longer. Not everyone's road to success is the same. Mine took me forever, so I'll tell you right now. So my little brother went to college right after high school, finished in like 3.5 years, came back, started working with my father and I at the pawn shop. My sister went to college right away, University of Miami. I think she almost had like a full ride or whatever the fuck it was. She went ahead and started a business right away, then went off to law school, all these crazy things. And here I was with a baby working in the club, then, going back to school for my associates or to finish my degree at like 27, like, all of these crazy different things, right? We all have a different path to success. All of us. I have crazy amount of student loans. Don't compare. I could have compared myself to my sister, but we're very different. We're such different human beings. We have two completely different lives and experiences and point of views and personalities. Just stop the comparison. And for anybody else out there listening right now thinking like, my career is not as cool as my sister or my brothers or my cousins or my friends, don't compare yourself because you really don't know what's going on behind those doors. Honestly, your sister might be going to an Ivy League school, but have you thought about the stress that motherfucker's going through? She can't sleep. She has to write all these theses and 20-page papers or 100-page papers. Who the fuck wants to do that? Clearly not you. So why compare yourself to her? Don't just think about how it looks from the outside, but put yourself into her shoes and what she's going through as well. The same for everyone else here listening. And it's like, maybe you're comparing your marriage to somebody else, or maybe you're comparing, how much money you make. You're not seeing what it takes for someone to make more money than you, what's going on behind those closed doors. So this whole comparison thing is so important because I had to learn to stop looking left and right and put my blinders on and work on myself, on my relationship, me and my child, on my career, and what my passion is without looking at anyone else, including other people within my same field, because I was comparing what I was doing and how I was doing it and how successful I seemed next to them. And their definition of success is so different from my definition of success. So how you feel about yourself is very different to your sisters. And again, everyone else listening, your definition of success, don't compare it to anyone else's. Don't compare it to anyone else's. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I've been thinking, I don't know what I'm saying, whatever, when I'm giving advice. So we have one more letter, and that is for Tasha. And Tasha's a little bit different. And I don't want to be like, fuck them, but here it goes. She says, I love my boyfriend and I like his family a lot. Nice, welcoming people, but I can't help but feel like I'm super awkward around them and generally really quiet. I'm not the most social, awesome person in general, but around my boyfriend's family, I seem to lose knowledge of every social skill I have ever learned. Part of this is that I'm nervous about them liking me. Another part is that I seem to have such problems carrying conversations with them. Feels like I'm almost playing 20 questions or interviewing them, like, how are you? How's your day? How's life? Can I help in the kitchen? And the answer is usually no. Just asking a shit ton of questions. And I feel like it makes me annoying. They're a bigger family. He is one of 4 siblings, and his parents in their late 50s are still married. And every family function, it feels like everyone's having conversations with each other, and I'm just the awkward turtle trying to figure out where to sit, where to stand, you know what I mean. All of this just makes me more nervous, and I think it shows. I just feel kind of bad because when I see his siblings' partners, they're so much more engaged with everyone and more talkative and seem to be more bonded. And I worry that they think I don't like them. To be fair, his siblings have been in their relationship so much longer than the two of us have. But we just hit our 1-year anniversary next month, or we're hitting our next year anniversary next month. So that's long enough, right? It's true that we generally have very different interests and are different people, but I never thought that was a barrier to getting to know people and forming bonds. What can I do to fit in or make them like me? Yikes, this seems so hard. I can't think of a time where someone's family made me feel awkward. Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't think you're looking for acceptance from people that you really don't know. So if it seems like you're walking into a family events or hanging out when they all kind of have their cliques and their groups coming on, I would feel like your boyfriend should bring you in more, and maybe he should integrate you or bring you into certain conversations. Like, where's your boyfriend doing all this when you're feeling awkward? Have you told him that you feel awkward? And then if you really want to make an effort, which it seems like you really do want to get along with them and they're nice people from what you say, maybe figure out what their interests are. So let's say he has a sister that really likes makeup or something. Maybe you can invite her to come with you and say, hey, do you want to help me figure out what kind of concealer or whatever I need? Or if one is into hair, try to find common interests of something that you know with them. So maybe your boyfriend can help you with that while you're speaking. I don't know why they let you in the kitchen. Maybe you don't know how to cook and your boyfriend said something about it or mentioned it. That's fucked up. They don't even let you come in the kitchen. But maybe you can bring something next time, a small gift, not something expensive, but something thoughtful of maybe with something you might have heard during the conversations, and just bring something to the table and get them to engage with you. So if you come in with something interesting, like I'm thinking like something dope where they want to hang out with you, right? But you come in and it's like, oh my God, I have this new toy, or I don't know, whatever it is that you're into, because I really don't know what you're into. You're saying you're a little awkward. Go in there a little bit more confident. Maybe they don't feel your confidence, or they feel that you're being weird. So they're kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to deal with somebody as weird as her. I don't know. So find something that you have in common with them. I think that's my best thing to think about. Find something that's in common with them, maybe on their own, and try to create something where you can go out with them on their own or with a less amount of people, not all of them at the same time, and create a bond with someone that you think you can get along with. And that would be a better way. I don't think they dislike you. They probably don't know enough about you. Those general questions like, how are you doing? How's life? They don't know shit about you. But your boyfriend should definitely find a way to help you get in there with them. Yeah, I know Wax did a really good job of that with me. He integrated me with his sisters. Well, he kind of just like threw them on there. The first time I met his sister was in Jersey, one of them. And he was just like, yeah, my sister's coming over. And he wasn't home. He was at work. And he's like, I'll be there in like 20 minutes. Yeah, fucking right. He didn't show up for like 2 hours later. So I was sitting there, had to order dinner for us because there was nothing in the apartment. Had to just sit there and just host them forever until he came home. And thank goodness they were cool. And I just, sparked up conversation. I was working. I was in my sweats and a t-shirt, like hair crazy as hell. But we had a good time. And now I've met, a lot of his family, and they're all pretty inviting, which makes it a lot easier. But I'm also, I pay attention to things that they say, and he's helped me a lot with like what they do, how they are. He lets me know beforehand. He's just like, they're cool. And I ask questions about them before they get here, so I know what their interests are. And I can then help like have conversation or hold a conversation with them or interest them with something that might be here in my house. So maybe you can do something like that. So now we're going to go into my favorite section and part of the podcast, which is my shit talk. I'm going to talk a little shit. I have to talk a little shit, especially when I'm by myself right now, because I can just say whatever the fuck I want and no one's going to say anything about it. Well, no one ever does, because I can just edit them out. But anywho, I want to talk a little bit about the people that feel like they can tell others how to feel during this time. Listen, we're going through something that no one in this lifetime or in our lifetime has experienced before. There's a full fucking pandemic. There are a million conspiracy theories. We're going into another recession clearly, like right now. Our president is a Cheeto-ass shithead. The whites are trying to make the nation go back to slavery days and think we don't have the balls to fight them back. There's just a lot going on. It is exhausting. Fucking exhausting. And now, y'all think that you can tell us how to fucking deal with depression, anxiety, sadness, and anger that we have. You want to tell us what to fucking do. That's who I'm talking to. Everybody's dealing and coping with life right now so different. We've been cooped up in our homes for months. Our kids are driving us fucking crazy. Well, actually, I shipped mine off, which is a luxury that most people don't have. So excuse me, I'm just speaking for those that can't stand their kids right now. I can understand for the first couple of months, okay? We're tired of these fucking Karens trying to kill our people, by calling the police. When we protest, some wanted to stay peaceful. Look, shit has been peaceful for a long fucking time. So much so that y'all keep killing us. So if some shit is blowing up right now, deal with it and make some damn changes. Now, for those that want to tell others how to protest, kiss my ass. Seriously, and this is for everybody, telling anyone how to protest and how to deal with this. Not everyone is going to go out into the streets to protest. Not everyone has the means to donate to the causes. Some want to talk about it on social media, and others just want to educate and learn about the current climate of our country with their immediate family and friends. There is no right or wrong way of doing this, is the point of what I'm saying. It's no right or wrong way of dealing with what we're going through. If someone has something to say about how you're dealing with the pandemic, clearly they're not doing enough themselves because they have too much time in their hands. Keep educating yourselves. Don't go straight to social media to find out how you should feel. Take some time off. Love on your family, because staying glued to the TV and social media right now can really take a toll on you. Trust me, it took it on me. Take care of your mental health. And if this is too much for you, get some help. Please, trust me. Try BetterHelp. Do talk therapy. It helps, I swear. Right now, putting your burdens and worries on your family and friends is just not fair. Trust me, whatever you're feeling, they're feeling it too. They really are. So, as I always tell you guys, try betterhelp.com/30. And I'm adding it onto here because I know there's so many people thinking about this and wanting to try it. I have partnered up with BetterHelp. And if right now you're feeling like you're going through a lot, like you're feeling a burden on you and putting this on your family or friends is too much, go to trybetterhelp.com/30. It's going to match you with your own licensed professional therapist. I was just talking to somebody today and I'm like, listen, you're robbing your 21-year-old family member of their life because you're not getting them therapy and you're thinking that, church can fix everything, but that's a different story. The point is that they called BetterHelp and they started doing this. It's not a crisis line. It's just self-help from professionals. There's a bunch of different and a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp. They take clients worldwide. You can switch your counselor anytime if you don't like who you're talking to. You're going to find someone within 24 hours. BetterHelp wants to help you start living a happier life today, and I want to help you achieve this as well. So like I said, try BetterHelp. That's HELP.com/30. Go on there, and today, for those of you listening to the show, and I tell you every week at this point, you're going to get 10% off for your first month. Literally 10% off for your first month. It's way less than I pay for an face-to-face visit, what I used to pay. So now I literally do it on the computer and I talk to my therapist because going into the office becomes a lot harder when you're thinking about COVID. I remember going to my therapist's office a few times and she was dealing with, other patients that had to go to the hospital. She's like, it's going to take me an extra 10 minutes or I'll be there in 30. We're running late, blah, blah, blah. Now I don't have to deal with that so much because everything is online and she can just send me a text and I don't have to worry about driving off for an hour and coming back home. So again, try BetterHelp just because we're going through a lot. we're going through a lot and we need to go through it. This is a wake up year. I feel like some people are saying this is a shit year. Fuck 2020. This is so stupid. No, it's not. And I want you to think about it in the positive way. This is a year where a pandemic broke out that has happened, in decades before or centuries before. It's not the first time. It's just something different. Whether you believe that it's just, a worse flu, or if they're doing it because of 5G or whatever conspiracy theory you're thinking about. I don't care what it is. But this allowed us to be closer to our family. It showed us that, our jobs are we're replaceable to some of these companies. So it brought us back to realizing, who we are, what we stand for, loving our family, just coming back to our faith. We have to have faith. It's bringing us together. I don't think that this Black Lives Matter movement would be as big today as it is if it wasn't for COVID and the pandemic and everything that's going on right now. The depression that we're going to go through, the poverty that we're seeing and experiencing. Nothing brings people together like poverty. Nothing brings people together like hunger, like needing to be there for each other. I think that Generation Z is fucking killing it, putting out their their grandparents and parents that are racist as fuck. We're seeing them, so outspoken because they live in a social media world. They were born into it and that's what they know. So they're taking this time to, shut things out. So there are a lot of good things that are coming out of this. It's not all negative. So there are a lot of negatives, but try not to think of those and focus on the positive. That way you can then move forward and elevate yourself. So that's when I say that is all, folks. We will be wrapping up. If you want to be a part of my patron community, for sure, go to patreon.com/shit I'm 30. I will be posting an episode with Shayna. She is a 30-year-old widow. She just lost her husband not too long ago. I recorded this with her a while back, and I will be posting that full episode on Patreon. It's amazing. I mean, when we recorded, I think it had just been her year anniversary, or I guess, of his death. I'm not sure if it's called an anniversary or not. Sorry. But she'll be talking to me about how she felt. And it's just an interesting story because we don't really see it that often. We think that, people don't die until they get older, or it doesn't happen to you. But listen to this one. It's going to be really, really good. And I want to thank you so much for your continuous support. If you haven't yet, make sure to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Share the show with your family and friends. Share it on social media as you already do. Like every single one of you guys already do this. And I love when I see it. I love to reshare on my stories, when you have been listening or what your favorite part of the show was. It helps me and the show tremendously to keep coming every single week so I can have May help me every week also. And I can get my businesses to keep growing. If you are in the Orlando area and you want to take a ride on our awesome pontoon boat, y'all, it's been booming. People are coming out here on the boat. They're going out on the lake. They're fishing. They're jumping in the water, going to the sandbar. It's Skye Blue Rentals, SKYE Blue Rentals. We have it's just so much fun. You can go tubing. So if you're in the Orlando area, we have the boat for you. Let us know if you need a captain. You can get one so y'all can keep drinking, or you can drive it yourself. I definitely did crash the boat once. That wasn't supposed to tell that to everybody, but I did crash the boat. I wouldn't be a driver, so if I were to take it out myself, I need a driver. So if you feel like you're as clumsy as me, we got a captain for you. But if not, you got a boyfriend that's good with it, or your dad or your uncle or your friend. I'm being very sexist right now because it could definitely be a woman. But if you feel comfortable with it, come out here and check out the boat. I know for the retreat, ladies, in September, we will be hanging out on the boat, going to the sandbar. Hopefully the weather will permit us to do so. I don't care if it's sprinkling. We're going on the damn boat. You hear me? I don't care if we're going to be outside the house on the boat. We're hanging out on it. But I will be back next week. And I hope you enjoyed this show. Bye, y'all.